Hello and welcome everyone to Have a Moment, where we explore the intersection of personal growth and success. I am your host, Anahata Holly Hallowell, founder of the Flow State Technique. And I'm really excited to dive into powerful strategies to unlock your potential so you can overcome limitations and really achieve your goals, both business and personally. And so whether you're an entrepreneur, a corporate leader, or just someone seeking personal transformation, welcome in. You are in the right place. And today I have a very special guest. And she is going to talk to us about a lot of things. But as you know, or may not know, I am really dedicated to helping individuals really discover their genius zone, that sweet spot where their purpose meets their passion and their productivity align. And my approach is really combining neuroscience as well as time-tested practices like hypnotherapy, NLP, breathwork, energy psychology. And so each episode of this Have a Moment, I'm going to bring to you insights, practical tools, stories, and professionals into this flow state. They're going to help you boost your creativity, enhance your performance, manifest whatever vision of success you have for your life. And so one of my first guests, I'm super excited to bring her and all her beautiful stories and her various, the things she brings to the table is pretty cool. You see her here in a second. I think the camera is going to go to her. Hopefully, I only see myself right now, but we're real, raw, ragged, and authentic on this channel. So again, let's just take a breath as we invite this powerhouse energy to this beautiful session. End distractions, there's going to be a lot of medicine coming through. And I also want to say, just take what resonates and leave the rest. This wisdom and the insights that Tiffany Nicole is going to share is going to be, pretty mind-bending for some of you, and others of you, you're like, yeah, I know that I'm vibing on that train already. And so I want to just first introduce her. She is a world-renowned Theta healer. She is a medical medium. She's a manifestation coach, and she's got this really unique gift. I've experienced it firsthand. That allows her to speak directly to your subconscious mind, and go to places you aren't even aware of. And there's profound healing there. I've experienced it. We'll probably get into it a little bit, but her journey has really taken her all over the map. And she's a woman after my own heart. When we find something that works, we want to see what else works and how can we make that bigger and better and deeper and more lasting for the clients we serve. And so her work has taken her from New York to Miami and through the halls of Stanford University. And she's even trained with Tony Robbins. So she's developed this really powerful methodology. She's combining theta healing with her medical intuition and her manifestation techniques. And she's really here to help people overcome limiting beliefs, heal trauma, and unlock their full potential, which is why I'm so delighted to have her on the show. We're going to explore how her approach aligns and complements with the flow state technique. And I just want to offer you guys, the tribe listeners, a broader perspective on personal development and healing. And so without further ado, we are going to get into some altered states of consciousness and hopefully help you remove some energetic blocks through this conversation so that you can manifest your desired outcomes. So welcome to Have a Moment, Tiffany. We are thrilled to have you here and to learn from you today.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. All right. So can you tell us about your journey from New York to Miami? How did it lead? What happened? How did you discover your unique healing abilities?
We're going to make a very, very long story short because it is a long story. When I lived in Manhattan, I was an event planner, had a super fast pace, very superficial lifestyle. So a lot of partying, a lot of red carpets. Like I said, very superficial. It was all about who you know, what you do. And after many, many years, I just found myself completely exhausted and burnt out, which a lot of people find themselves, which is not a good place to be. And we've normalized this and it should not be normalized. And I also felt that I just was not connected to the city that I lived in anymore. So I was experiencing exhaustion, burnout, and disconnection all at once. I also believe that if you don't move out of situations that no longer are for you, the universe will get involved and move you.
Hmm.
That's what happened to me. So the person that I was dating passed away, my apartment flooded, and I lost my business all within the same like couple of weeks. And that was the universe moving me because for so long I was in denial and just kept on working, pushing, and kept on living in a city that I did not belong in any longer. Very long story short, I wound up getting a lot of signs from the universe to come to Miami. I'd never been here before. And no matter who I ran into or spoke to, and in what I call the in-between, my in-between was grieving in Long Island at my best friend's sister's house. And in that in-between of trying to just kind of come out of all the grief, it was Miami everywhere. Please pay attention to the signs, people. They are there. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Miami. And I was at a wedding and, I was invited and I went. And here's where, the intuitive hits inside the body really come into play. Because all I did was step outside of the airport and my whole body lit up like a Christmas tree and was like, you are home. I had not even seen Miami yet. And I was like, okay. And I didn't stay for the whole trip that I planned because, well, it was my home. So I went back to New York. I bought a Jeep. I packed it with everything I could fit and I drove down in 2 days and I've been here for 14 years. Um, I was a hot mess when I got here and I continued to do the same job that I didn't have any right doing in New York either, because our mindset goes wherever we go. Location will not change you, only your mind will. And so I learned that hard lesson. Anyway, I took a transformational life course. That is the one from Stanford University. It was very famous. It did change my life. In the interim of taking that course, I was offered the opportunity to teach it. I said yes, but it took a minute. And I took a year out of my life to get certified in it. I did teach it for 4 years at least, consistently. I got very interested in subconscious mind reprogramming, belief work, whatever you want to call it. That became my new obsession. I learned everything I could. Um, I developed my own program called Believe and Manifest. And then in that, I was offered a lot of great opportunities to teach portions of it at different retreats around the world. And I said yes. And a lot of people would watch me teach. It was a lot around belief systems. And so many people kept telling me I should be a theta healer. I didn't know what it was. But yet again, the intuition spoke. I listened. I finally said yes after the third time. And I mentioned this to you, but I did 3 certifications in a row. In all of those certifications, nothing happened for me. I was very frustrated and I saw nothing, felt nothing, nothing. And then after the third one, it hit, it opened, it blew the doors off of everything I ever knew, experienced. It was a whole new level of understanding for the conscious and the subconscious, for God, for source, for the connection between how our emotions, our trauma, our belief systems create every physical ailment, piece of health,
Mm.
everything in our lives. And I never look back. I'm 13 certifications in. I was
Mm.
sold for 3 years and I can't stop. I'm obsessed.
Oh my gosh, that is such a beautiful story. And I feel like everyone who's done similar realization pathways always had to go through that dark night of a soul. Like the shit hit the fan, and then it
Yeah.
was like it's that tower moment where, as you said, if you don't listen, then something will happen to where you got to pay attention now. And it's
Yeah.
so cool that you were led to Miami. I was led to Southwest Florida. We're both in
Yeah.
Florida, and it was
Yeah.
like, whoa. And it took this really falling apart to unremember who I was so that I could remember who I was, so that
Yes.
I could get my stuff together with what I was meant to be doing. And So for anyone who's maybe, not so intuitive or not so willing to follow their inner nudgings, and we do realize that there's got to be an altered state of consciousness to access deeper wisdom, deeper levels. And
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that you do really well for people who don't even have to be psychic or clear anything, right? They
Yeah.
can just ask you for help, and you work with them to get them into this deep state of consciousness that allows them to access deep levels of awareness that perhaps they never had. And you're able to tap into that theta state. And it has profound benefits very quickly for people who don't even necessarily meditate or anything. It's just, what
Yeah.
have you observed from working in this state for even those people that maybe don't believe or don't have any history of really
Yeah.
tapping into these altered states?
One of the cool things, I mean, there's a lot about this, and this is also something different I find than other modalities, is that I don't need the client to be in any state, like at all. They're not under hypnosis. They are completely coherent, conscious. Like, I really don't need much from them except for them to just sit still and just be present and allow. That's honestly all that I need. I need to be in my theta state, because if I'm not in my theta state, then I don't have the connection that I need to give you all of the information that is available to you that I am channeling. So for me, that's what's most important. Once I'm in that state, I am like instantaneously connected to the person's subconscious mind, to their physical body, to their emotions, to their energy, and also to every timeline in their life. And so there's so much information there, and there's so many root causes to things, and there's so many hidden emotions, hidden traumas, things that people are not aware of. They lose sight of it because they're not in that timeline any longer.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of information. It's a lot of healing. It's a lot in 1 hour. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
certainly is. And I mean, I am testament to that because you took me down the pathway of your healing technique, and I was blown away. I was remembering things that I never even thought of based on
Mhm.
you just asking these open-ended questions. And then as we went through it, everything you said was so spot on. And one of the main things that I really enjoyed, because, with my flow state technique, I do
Mhm.
incorporate hypnotherapy and
Mhm.
NLP stuff.
Mhm.
And as you said, you don't have, the person doesn't have to be in that state for you to do your work,
Right.
but you do address deep limiting beliefs and negative patterns. And so I want you to just share with us, as a theta healer, how do you approach removing those barriers that you find in a
Mhm.
session?
Such a good question. I love this question. So I know that, like, yes, we need titles for reasons, right? Like, oh, I'm a theta healer, but in truth, I'm witnessing. That's really what's happening, is that I am shown, I have so much information, it's wild, but because I'm also claircognizant, some of this is theta healing. Yeah, some of this is just my own stuff that's kind of mixed in with this. But I'm claircognizant. So basically what happens is that, again, I connect you immediately, and when people say what you say, oh my God, it is so spot on. Like, after the sessions, most people are speechless. They're just like dumbfounded. They don't understand how I would even be able to know this much. It is so specific. It's wild. But what I always explain to them is, this is, I'm going to say God, but it's whatever you believe. It could be a higher power. It could be the creator. It could be source, universe. It doesn't matter. Whatever you believe in is fine. This is what's giving me the information. So it's like, yes, of course, it's the most accurate. What is more accurate than that? You know what I'm saying? It's been with you your whole life. It's what created you in the first place. So that's number one. And number two is, when I am shown the limiting belief, right? I'm also shown where it came from and where it is in the body. I tell you, and then I ask you permission to release it. And then again, whatever you believe in, I'm just going to say God is what is actually releasing it. And I'm witnessing the removal of that in the moment.
Mhm.
That's really what's happening.
Yeah, and I feel like where one or more are gathered, not to be religious at all. It's just
Mhm.
this amplification of intention, and you're holding that space for someone to feel safe enough to release whatever perception has been a trigger or a setback or a belief that
Mhm.
doesn't serve them. And so it's so interesting how you work with the energy of the body. And tell me about some stories, if you can, about some of your, I don't want to call them students, I guess clients.
And yeah.
Um, what are some most memorable health related stories where someone came to you with this and then this happened? If you can think of any.
I'm
'Cause
gonna try. It's so this is another thing that happens. Your secrets are literally safe with me because the minute that the session is over, I don't remember one thing.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
will remember you and like your face because I'll probably see you again, but I will not remember one thing because it's not my information. But I
Hmm.
will tell you that like, and I have like all the testimonials are there for you to see. Like they're literally all inside of like my highlight reel in my Instagram and on my website. But people do come to me with so many different ailments, psoriasis, my liver, I have horrible stomach disorders. I have thyroid stuff. And I just got a testimonial recently. She had thyroid issues. She did not want to have any kind of surgery. That's why she came to me. And she just sent me a message saying that she just got it checked again and she's all good. It's all gone.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, what is happening, do you think? I know you just sort of touched on it, but this, so with FST, we really are intimately integrated with the dis-ease or the disconnection. You know, prana, when it's flowing, is health and
Mhm,
vibrant. And the
mhm.
root of the word healing literally means a return to the memory of wholeness. So do you think that when you're working with people, as you said, you're witnessing them being whole, and this literally unblocks them to then access the full template of wellness? Does that resonate with you, or what do you think's happening as a professional?
What's happening is that 90% of our pain, sickness, and disease is trapped trauma, emotions, and limiting beliefs. So, like, let's start there. These are not things doctors can cure with pills.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I will tell you that I can say 90% of my clients personally are people pleasers, right? Now, what I have come to know to be true is that I'm not going to say all, but I will say a very high percentage of people pleasers almost always have some kind of thyroid issue. It's just what it is.
Hmm.
And the reason for this is because people pleasers are overextended because they don't know how to say no and they don't have boundaries. And so over time, this overextension is like, yes, I'll do this. Sure, no problem. Just keep piling it on. It's never enough. Are you happy? Your problems are my problems. I'm not as important. There's so much going on here. And the body cannot handle any more push. And it also cannot handle any more of you abandoning and neglecting yourself for the needs of others. And so this kind of overextension, for whatever reason, it always causes issues within the thyroid. The thyroid, again, I'm a medical medium, organs talk to me like full on conversations. The thyroid, it always says to me, like, I'm so tired of this. Like, is this person ever going to rest? Are we ever going to relax? Are we ever going to say no? Are we ever going to speak up for ourselves? Like, do we ever put ourselves first? It's like, it
Mm.
can't handle it anymore. And this is almost always the reason for the thyroid is that the woman is living predominantly in her masculine energy. The feminine is nowhere to be found. And that is an imbalance within the system. And it shows up in the body like everything else. That's what I have found to be true.
Yeah. And so then how do you reintegrate without giving any, you know,
Yeah.
what is that process? What does that process look like for
It
you?
looks like basically I'm being told like all of the belief systems, obviously, that are coming up that are creating the behavior of the people pleaser. And it always starts in inner child, right? And then through that, I'm also, it's not just the limiting beliefs, it's also the storage of them, if that makes sense. So like when it takes me into, let's say, a thyroid, right? Then the thyroid is giving me the information, which is again belief based, right? It's belief based. The beliefs sound like if I rest, I'm lazy. If I rest, I won't be loved. If I'm not working hard, I'm not worthy. It's things like this. So I'm asking the client, can we release this? Can we release this? Can we release this? As we do this, right? Now the thyroid starts to heal because that's why it was not working in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then in theta healing, we're not just releasing or downloading. So now we download, yes, into the subconscious, but also it will show me into the thyroid or wherever it needs. It is safe to rest. It is, it is safe to take breaks and be successful. Like whatever is, I don't make these up. They're given to me, right? So like whatever is given to me, I will give to you. Again, you will say yes, and I will witness it going in, both in the body and in the subconscious. And then that is really what the healing looks like.
Yeah. And I think from there, you sort of have carved a new pathway. With the flow state technique, we work a lot with neuroplasticity and changing your beliefs on a subconscious level so that it reflects out into your daily, because all of these things are subconscious anyway. And so
Yeah.
I've actually coined the term neuro manifesting, because if you have a goal and you can't get there, then it's simply a desire that you want that you're not able to get to. And so if you want to get to where you want to go, as a manifestation, you're sort of a manifestation coach as well.
Yes.
Because people come to you with concerns that they want remedied in order to achieve a goal. So have you ever done sessions just for the purpose of manifesting goals versus remedying issues? And they kind of go hand in hand, but let's talk about manifesting.
Okay. It was kind of, this is why this was such a good segue. Like it made sense in my career because I had gotten, like, again, I was obsessed with belief systems. Once I understood that they created everything, I was like, why would I even work on anything else? For me personally, that's how I felt, like we get drawn to certain work for certain reasons. And I was already teaching manifestation. That became that was before the theta healing even entered the chat, So yes, like in the program that I created, that's what each week would look like. It was an opener to getting closer to this thing that you wanted, or many things, or all the things. And how does this really work in the bigger picture when it comes to energetics and intuition and mindset and all of that? Like how are we putting all this together and making this make sense? So that's what that looked like. But then here was this amazing tool, right? That I was learning, getting certified in. And the tool was going straight to the source, straight to it. So we're not guessing anymore. I'm not guessing. It's not service. I'm not like, well, maybe you're just procrastinating because it's like, we're not guessing. I know exactly why you're doing what you're doing, where it came from, when it started, who gave it to you, where it's in the body. Like it is so fast. It's like, this is your speedway. So yeah, it totally goes with manifestation because I'm working on the main thing that manifests everything, and that is your belief system. And it's so fast. Like I go right in and right out. It's like I think it's an amazing tool for this. Maybe one of the best.
I agree. I can't speak highly enough of your the way you do it and the results. They were massive for me. And you said you're just an observer and you're there witnessing it all. We went to even past life, ancestral trauma based things. And to me, that's root. It's not, it's like,
I get there.
Yeah, it's uncovering. And I feel like it also gives you permission to continue on with your purpose, your true calling, because a lot of times we think we have found it, or maybe it's just a conditioned response with our upbringing and what we've been told we should do. And then we realize this isn't satisfying me at all. And so perhaps you were doing sort of this kind of work in another life. And regardless, guys, if you're tuned into this and you don't believe in past lives, no worries. Leave that part of it. But I really think your work is beautiful because it takes you back and resolves the source point, even if it was something that you can't even remember now. And what that does is it allows you to free up your energy to really hone into your life purpose unapologetically, but also through a lens of, now I get why I was the way I was. So you have this more loving look. Inner critics contribute so much to our stress, to our habitual patterns that don't serve us, and we are our worst critics. So maybe speak to that a little bit about how you liberate people to the best versions of themselves and help them to really hone in on their life purpose unapologetically without all these barriers and these chains that were holding them back.
Yeah. Theta healing does something very interesting that no other modality has ever talked about or really fully went into. Some of it, not all of it. And it is that we talk a lot about subconscious reprogramming, right? Like that's like the terminology that we all use in belief systems, but there are 4 layers to our beliefs. We have 4. And so we have our, like you said, past life, but we call it the history level of belief systems.
Mm.
This is where you take a lesson that has not been healed or learned, and it just kicks over into this life, and you're still replaying it, and we heal it, and it's done. Then you have core beliefs. This is the stuff that you learned as a child that you pick up through witnessing everything, and you just keep on going with it repetitively. It becomes your belief system. And at 7, we have formed the entire foundation, right? We know this. And then you have genetic. This is the stuff that you cannot escape because it's passed through your DNA. We all hold the blueprint to our entire ancestral blueprint. We all hold it. And we heal this too. So stuff from your mom, your dad, their mom, their dad, blah, blah, blah. And then we have what we call like the soul level, right? So like the stuff that your soul literally and heart have holding on to. So here you are, you're wanting to fulfill your purpose. You have 4 levels of belief systems. Some you learned, some were passed down to you, some were past life, whatever. And what if in your genetics, I don't know, one of your parents was extremely, I don't know, had a lot of, they struggled with self-esteem. They struggled with a lot of self-esteem. Maybe they were abused. They didn't feel safe to be seen. And then you grow up and you want to pursue your passion. And for some reason, every time you get in front of people, you choke. You choke, you choke, you choke. You just can't do it. You clam up. You're like, I don't know what happens to me. I can't do it. And then I go in and I see why that happened. And it's because, well, it's in your DNA. Literally, you have all these women maybe on your mom's side. None of them are feeling safe to be seen. It was given to you. And then we heal that. And once that's healed, can you imagine for the person now who choked all the time and then suddenly they sit up and they're in front of an audience and they feel completely safe in their own skin and they're like, wait, I don't have an issue here. Like, it's fine. I'm fine. I can talk. I can do anything. That is what that result looks like. That alone will move the needle like crazy, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And actually, guys, Tiffany's talking about a very new and real science called epigenetics, where they have found that information gets passed down above the genes. And what a beautiful way to go ahead and just remedy that at the base level from something you don't even know why you were triggered into having that in the first place. And guys, it is always a trauma-based message of survival. It's like your great grandma didn't tell you you were afraid of public speaking because she wanted you not to become a speaker. It's
Correct.
because there was a real and present danger at the time where she was going to say, hey, look, this doesn't go well for people. I'm going to make sure that my ancestors don't have this issue. Well, we don't have that issue anymore in this day and age. So we shouldn't have a fear of that, but we do.
Yeah.
And so your ability to be able to come in and do that is just fantastic. I use water with that, but you don't use water, but yeah, it works so well. And
Yeah.
I want to just pause, guys. I knew this was going to happen because we've covered so much, and I like to keep these under 30 minutes just because there's so much to ground in. And your insights have been amazing so far. So I do want to go ahead and pause. We're going to create session 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so time flies so quickly when we're so engaged and in such a good discussion. So we've explored so much. We're going to dive into more. But in the meantime, for people who may not like or follow this channel yet, do so you can catch part 2. But also, where can they find you in case they don't check out the second session?
You can find me on Instagram. It's my name. It's at tiffanynicole.co. And my website is also tiffanynicole.co. Pretty easy.
Awesome.
My
Awesome.
TikTok is tiffanynicole.co.
Okay, cool. And guys, look for the notes for this, the video description. I'm going to definitely put all of her links there so you can check that out. And then again, go to part 2, because in our next session, we're going to dive deeper into Tiffany's work as a medical medium and explore more about manifestation, timelines. I want to discuss how her approach can be applied to business and career development as well. So stay tuned. And Tiffany, thank you so much for your time today. I can't wait to continue our discussion in part 2 to be continued.
Be
Bye,
continued.
everyone. Thank you so much.